Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode of the J's Up podcast. I'm your host, Christopher NICANOR,
I'm your co-host, Jaime Leal.
and today is going to be a thoughtful episode in which we talk about very interesting stuff. And I mean, if you haven't heard of what we're going to talk about, you kind of haven't been in tune with social media or something like that, which is completely fine, but we're here to fill you in on these topics and things like this, and this is why you watch the podcast. So, before we get into it, Jaime,
Yes,
4th of July weekend just passed,
4th of July weekend. Yeah.
or 4th of July, I guess. And how did that go for you?
I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't like really crazy. Like I didn't do anything special. I mean, normally we celebrate New Year's more than we celebrate 4th of July. Like
Yeah.
I popped some fireworks. Popped a little bit of fireworks, I'm not gonna lie.
Possible.
And my favorite ones are the tanks, Have you ever
Oh, they like move?
they move
like-
and then they shoot. And I would
Yeah.
when I was little, I'd make the two of them fight. It was dope. But yeah, I would. I popped a little bit of fireworks. I was with my family. It was it was a lot of fun. It was a good experience. What about you?
I think this was the least 4th of July I've ever had. The least feeling 4th of July that I've had.
Why
We
is that?
kind of, I don't know, we didn't really do anything. We didn't pop fireworks. We just like watched and heard fireworks like from our backyard.
Yeah.
We made burgers. Everyone makes burgers and hot
Yeah.
dogs. And that was really good. And yeah, I mean, my brother is in the army, so we called him and like we got to talk to him, things like that. So
That's good.
I mean, it's different when you have like family, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you feel
Yeah,
like
I
sort of
know.
like a connection, I guess, to like, not that the holiday just means more, you know what I mean?
For sure.
But yeah, not much happened. Fireworks were louder than I expected. I don't remember them being that loud. Or I think it's because it was like maybe 2 houses down, and then my dogs were freaking out. It was a whole situation. But besides that, we're still working outside with my dad.
Oh,
We built
I
like,
dug a
or
hole the
we're
other day, dude. My stepdad made me dig a hole. It was not fun. It was not fun.
We started clearing out a side of our backyard so that way we can make like a place to practice your drives, and it's gonna have like a
Wow.
net and all that. So it's gonna be cool. We laid down some turf. It's gonna be cool, but I mean, we're just doing a new thing every other day.
That's
And
really
so,
cool.
so before we get into anything, I just wanna make it clear and make it a point to inform you guys on how the coronavirus is slowly kind of getting worse in Hidalgo County. I mean, over the weekend, over 4th of July weekend, we had 547 more people test positive and 1 person lose their life. And so, I mean, 547 over 2 days is a lot.
So yeah.
You know what I mean? That is so many. And then granted, I mean, it was a holiday, but Hidalgo County even sent out like, what is that, an Amber Alert to make sure that we're all aware of the situation going on, like kind of just like an emergency alert. And yet, I guess some people didn't take it light. I mean, some people just took it too lightly.
For sure.
But yeah, over the weekend, I mean, 500 is a lot. And then just yesterday, Monday, the 6th, 16 people lost their life because of COVID. 16. That's a huge spike. And then, granted, only 102 people tested positive, but I mean, 16 people, like, people are losing their lives over this, and it's becoming more and more apparent. And please, 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 everyone, stay home, stay safe, wear a mask if you have to go outside, practice social distancing. Just, it's
I know.
It's not going to get better unless we strive to make it better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Everybody puts in work to hopefully get us back to where we were originally.
I saw this interesting picture talking about like the issue about wearing masks and stuff, and this is going to be brief. So It was basically the trolley problem. Are you aware with the trolley problem?
Not at all.
So basically what the trolley problem is, it's a question and a situation based on ethics.
Okay.
So let's say there's five people laying down in a railroad, right? They're
Yes.
about to get ran over by a train.
Okay.
Now, those five people may lose their life if you don't pull a lever. But if you do pull the lever, one person you're close to loses their life. They're on the train tracks. So it's basically the dilemma of which would you choose?
Yeah.
The net loss of life, or someone like net loss in your life. You know what I mean? And so it basically took five people still on the tracks, and then it said you can pull the lever and save everyone. No one will die if you just wore a mask to the grocery store. And I think that's so
That's
smart,
good.
because
Yeah.
it's true. It's like you can save people's lives and save people, like, just wear a mask. And
Yeah.
it's that simple. If you're like, if you have a sense of ethics and a sense of, like, if you're a humanitarian, which I think we all should be,
Mhm.
um wearing a mask is just bait, like the borderline, like the easiest thing we can do right now. And so please do it. Please stay safe, wash your hands, use Germex, and all of that. But
For sure.
anyway, I couldn't stress that enough. What we're going to talk about is cancel culture first and foremost. And I mean, saying that we're going to talk about it, I feel like it can still happen to us, just knowing that we're going to have a conversation about it, and that's a scary thing. And
Mhm.
like, I don't mean to say anything offensive or um kind of uneducated, but I've tried my best to educate myself on this topic.
Same
So
here.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying comes from just definitions and things like that, and situations in which it helps and in which cases it doesn't. But for those of you guys who don't know, I'm just going to read you guys definitions of cancel culture. So the first definition here is: cancel culture refers to the popular practice of withdrawing support for or canceling public figures and companies after they have done or said something considered objectionable or offensive. Cancel culture is generally discussed as being performed on social media in the form of group shaming. Now, here's a second definition. Cancel culture is a form of boycott in which someone, typically a celebrity, has shared a questionable opinion or, again, has had problematic behavior called out on social media. This can be screenshots of old tweets or old videos that resurface of the problematic behavior in question. And
Okay.
so basically, social media, it's kind of a form of social justice. It's a new form of social justice, this cancel culture. And I think the first definition says it's generally discussed as being performed on social media and a group and in a form of group shaming. And so basically it's the whole, like, namely Twitter. It's usually Twitter. And it's basically all of Twitter shaming this one person into being shaming this person for a mistake they have made in the past. Basically not allowing them to look back on that and maybe grow. It's just simply looking at it as like, this is what happened in the past, and therefore you kind of don't deserve to have a future. And that's basically the way I can explain it right now.
Yeah.
And Jaime has an early instance of cancel culture in practice.
Yeah. So one of the earliest instances, well, like I like to talk about sports a lot, and one of the earliest ones would probably be Colin Kaepernick in 2016. During the fourth preseason game, I believe, he kneeled for the
In
American.
protest of the national
Yeah,
anthem
yeah.
and
I'm
the
sorry. Yeah,
yeah.
in protest of the national anthem, and he got a lot of hate for it, and in those terms canceled. He got canceled for that, and after that 2016 year, he hasn't played in the NFL since. And if you're a sports junkie, uh, he went to the playoffs. He was very successful in the playoffs, and if I'm not mistaken, he went to a Super Bowl. And he was a very good player. And all of a sudden, it seems that nobody cared through 2017, 18, 19, until now, until 2020. where now it's respectful, or it's going to be
It,
frowned upon if you don't kneel
yeah.
uh, with for the flag. And Drew Brees received a lot of hate for saying that it was disrespecting the flag, when in 2016 that was politically correct. I'm sorry about that. And that was politically, I guess, politically correct. And
Hmm.
it's kind of weird how things are changing so fast, and it's very hard to keep up. And that's why when you make a mistake and you say something that could be very rude and you just don't realize it or something. And I know it happens to a lot of people where you
Hmm.
say something and then you kind of regret saying that. And in some cases, people lose their jobs for that, just like Colin Kaepernick did. And in 2019, in 2019, Jake Fromm, the backup quarterback for the Bills, tweeted using the term elite white people, and through 2019 it was completely uh, undetected until 2020, where some people found it, and they tried to cancel him for that. And if you think about it, it's a quarterback who tweeted something that was very disrespectful. It's but you got to understand that people make dumb decisions all the time, and to lose your job for something like that, fortunately he didn't. But you got to understand, he worked to be an NFL quarterback, where only
Hmm.
2% of college players actually become NFL quarterbacks. And for your dreams to go away because you made one wrong decision is insane. And I don't think it should be like that. But I do understand that there are a lot of cases to where it's very helpful.
Hmm.
Cancel culture can be very helpful, and
Absolutely.
with just the really bad people out there.
With cases of like violent crimes, obviously, like people in the past have gotten away with like let's say celebrities who are deemed untouchable, super big actors, directors, music writers, musicians, artists, just things like that.
Mhm.
People like that have seemed to be getting away with more stuff than like you or me could get away with.
Yeah, that's true.
Violent crimes that seem very, very inhumane, and yet they continue to have careers and prosper after this. And so cancel culture basically in the beginning, in its infancy, targeted those kinds of people who continue to live freely and not be punished for the things that they have done. And those are things that's something that I completely agree with. I think
Yeah,
people should face just action for their actions. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And but as time has progressed, it seems that people are trying to cancel others over minor slip ups that they made 10 years ago. An
that's
opinion
true.
that was okay 10 years ago is not okay now. And people don't recognize that. They just see that opinion and take it as if it was said now and be like, okay, you don't have a career anymore and you shouldn't have a career. And that's something I don't agree with. Even if
Yeah,
they did say something, let's say 2 days ago, if I said something 2 days ago and it was a big mess up, and someone says cancel Jay's Up podcast, you know what I mean? It's ignoring the fact that we can grow as people and as humans to understand our mistakes and grow from them. It's kind of it's kind of anti-activism because you're not changing someone, you're just simply hushing them and making sure that they don't continue to say other things. So
hmm,
like let's take for example, like let's just say there's a heavily racist person on the internet.
okay.
This heavily racist person has a lot of money.
Mm,
Now this heavily racist person then gets canceled. Doesn't lose his money, he just doesn't have a platform, I guess, okay?
yeah,
So he gets canceled on social media and all that. So what you've just done then is pushed and silenced a very racist man off of social media to when he can still be racist and not have learned anything. And so it seems like this activism I know is coming from a good place, and I know I agree with most of it, but one part I don't agree with is letting people know where they've messed up and allowing them to grow instead of simply just saying you messed up, and then they're just like, okay, I messed up, I can continue to do this because I still have, all of this wealth. And
It's like a
it,
misbehaved child.
yeah,
Like,
like it feels like a slap on the wrist to them, because I mean,
exactly.
a bunch of people on the internet, like, okay, you know what I mean? But instead of realizing what they've done, people are just sending them death threats, sending death threats to their family, and it's like, that's not really activism, you know what I mean?
No,
Or at
it
least not
doesn't
to
have to
me.
be that way. Yeah.
It
No,
doesn't. It's just, we should allow people to grow. Granted, again, violent crime offenders, things like that, I mean, those people should face prosecution for what they have done. But for having an opinion in today's society, is having an opinion that is outside of the majority, you can be canceled for. And that's something that I don't agree with. Now,
yeah.
I'm not saying anyone should be, um, um, like pro-racist, or like, what if you don't know what his mind's like no. Um, we should all, I mean, it's not talking about a political issue when you say, like, Black Lives Matter. Like, that's something that just is true. You
Should
know what I
be.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
it should already, like, be a thing. And so, like, that's something that I completely agree with, because I mean, it's like
They're literally
it's not
the
an issue
same.
of
Yeah.
it's not an
Everything.
issue of opinions. Then it's just an issue of ethics. And so there, I agree. But I'm saying, like, I don't know, like, it's okay to feel like, or feel disrespected when someone, burns a flag. But
Yeah.
if I say I feel disrespected by that, or if anyone says they feel disrespected by that, then the mob comes after them and, just tries to, physically harm them in some way, or just make sure that they don't see, a bright future. And it seems kind of scary. So, I found, like, a list of how to, avoid cancel culture. I found, like, I just looked up how to avoid cancel culture, and there's the first list that come up. One, understand what cancel culture is. Two, be careful weighing in on social or political issues.
Hmm.
So don't have a political or social opinion unless it's with this
The
sort of,
majority.
uh, the majority, right? Which is scary, because this is something that we're doing now. But, number three, watch how you use humor,
Yeah,
which,
for sure.
we'll talk about that right now.
Yeah.
And four, don't rely on influencers to save you. And five, like, if you do get canceled, kind of try and make a conclusion as to, like, this and this and this. But, I think the two and three are very interesting to hear. Be careful on weighing in on social or political issues is kind of, and again, super anti-activism, because it doesn't allow people to generate conversations and persuade others to think differently. It's just saying we all shouldn't think at all and let things pan out the way they should.
Yeah.
See, because, like, I mean, politics is a mess right now. Whether I mean, it just is.
Yeah.
And, to weigh in on that in this like day and age is basically asking to have your future ended. And it just it seems wrong, because I mean, it shouldn't be that way. It should be, I mean, true activism is allowing people to grow and changing people's minds. That, like, it's taking action to change, not to just say, like, not to silence. You know what I mean?
Not to say you're wrong, and then
Right.
that's it.
And then just, yeah, that's it. And like, it's to allow people to understand where you're coming from, and where your opinion is actually true and valid, rather than saying, yeah, like you said, you're wrong, my opinion's right, your career's over. And but as we move on to number three, and something that, I mean, we stopped on and we just scoffed at a little bit, is watch how you use humor.
Yeah.
um Jokes that you could say, let's say in 2012, 2008. Um, if people find a joke you have said then, like the things you could joke about then are obviously completely different than the things that you can joke like, or you like, they're just not things you can joke about now, which is
Yes.
fine. I understand that times change, society changes, you know, um, just things change, and that comes naturally. But one thing that I think people forget is that humor is completely subjective, and it's completely subjective to the person, things like that. And I mean, some jokes are just not funny, and that's completely fine. And but that's my opinion, and someone can have
Hmm.
that opinion about anything that I say or anything that I deem funny. They can just
Hmm.
think it's not funny. And so watching how you use humor feels like a counterintuitive way to like out of expression. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly,
humor
because you
is a
can't.
form of,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a
You
form of
okay? Yeah.
expression.
You can't just say watch out with your humor, and then you try to watch out with it, but somebody could easily say, "Oh, that's not funny. Don't make that joke ever again," and
Yeah,
things
or
like that.
like you can think like you're watching out for something, but as society changes, you can easily turn back around and say, oh, someone can easily turn back around and twist up your words and take things out of context and make it seem like, boom, like you're the worst person on earth because you said this joke in 2008. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then
And,
everybody jumps on that. I mean, everybody
mhm,
tries to attack, and there's no real thought going through how this person might feel and the reason why he is actually being attacked. He or she is actually being attacked.
right. It just seems like blind hate over,
Hmm.
something that someone said. But I think one thing I want to say about this is, dang it, I had it in my head. um, oh, one negative I think to cancel culture is that it doesn't necessarily allow the person to speak on their behalf. It's just, if I say something about Jaime, let's say I said Jaime, or not even Jaime, let's just say I said anyone in our society has done me wrong and um, um, assaulted me,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Um, I post that on Twitter at, again, just for example, Jaime Leal assaulted me.
Okay.
No one cares to know if that's true or not. They just hear me say it and go, okay, Jaime has assaulted Chris. Jaime doesn't deserve a career. Chris says this,
Hmm.
and so it's true. And that feels wrong. It doesn't feel right to me how we can blindly be convinced someone did something so horrible when someone just says so. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah. This I'm gonna uh, make an example of a light version of what you just said.
Okay.
It was not that long ago that PewDiePie had made a video, and it was regarding Jack's Films. It's another
Okay.
YouTuber,
Mm-hmm.
and they were making like the same content, and PewDiePie was copying Jack's Films as a joke. And then in one of his videos, he said that Jack's Films is copying him, and he was completely joking. And he was like, "Man," and then Jack's Films doing this, and he's copying this skit and this. And I went to go to Jack's Films to see the comments, and all of them were hate comments on how could you copy him, and you're copying PewDiePie, and PewDiePie is
Is
bringing all
superior
this to
because he
light.
did
Yeah,
it first. Yeah.
and it's like you need to go back and you need to check the
Yeah.
truth.
People don't do research. They
Hmm.
just see or hear a headline, agree to it because it shows that they're an activist. If you
Hmm.
just tweet or say something that everyone is saying or tweeting.
Hmm.
And I don't know, it feels counterintuitive when it comes to activism. But I will say, um, cancel culture started off in a really good spot. it was kind of a form. It was kind of the left leg or like another limb of the Me Too movement, which
Hmm.
was amazing and wonderful and brought a lot. It empowered a lot of um, sexual assault victims, and cancel culture basically wanted these people to not continue to have a career, which is completely fine. These are violent crimes that people have committed and not gotten justice for.
Yeah, they need to
And
be brought to light.
right. And so it started off in such a wonderful, beautiful form of activism that, you know, really brought these people their justice. But now it seems like if we step out of line and say something that the masses don't agree with, when it's just simply an opinion and you can easily change your mind on it, we shouldn't have a future.
Yeah,
And again, cancel culture can be something so unique and beautiful and beneficial for society and beneficial for, you know, our community and everything. But if I were to say, like, I don't condone of burning American flags, or I don't condone of, you know, um, for example, like something that's happening today is are like riots and stuff for the Black Lives Matter movement, which I am totally for. I'm totally for the Black Lives Matter movement. But like if I were to say I'm with the Black Lives Matter movement, but I'm not with um, you know, burning down buildings, then I can just get canceled.
yeah.
And it seems it's again, it just seems counterintuitive as to what activism truly is.
They
And it
people think it's like black and white, but there's big gray area to what's correct and what's wrong.
right.
Like I could see like I see two sides to the Black Lives Matter. You could agree with the protests and everything, and I completely agree too with all the protesting and everything. And then I see a
Hmm.
video that it's of the Black Lives Matter protest beating a girl, and and if you just
Or
see that video plainly, you're like, those are the bad guys, and the people who are not protesting are the good guys. When you're just looking at a bad piece and you're making a big opinion on that piece, and again, it's not like that. It's not those are bad guys, these are good guys. It's opinions, but they need to be. Uh, they can't be aggressive opinions. They have to be smart decisions being made.
it seems like today we can't have a conversation about our opinions and try and persuade another person to maybe like swerve that opinion in one way or another, or maybe make someone think about the other side.
Hmm.
It simply feels like today, if you have an opinion that is against the mob, you're wrong. And if you're with the mob, you're instantly right and should not change your opinion at all, or shouldn't even think about another opinion, shouldn't hear another opinion. And if you do, whoever you're hearing this opinion from should not have a future.
Exactly.
And that's where I think it comes to a fault. But, um, you know, everything going on in the world right now, negativity is the last thing that we should be spreading
Yeah.
because,
Love,
I mean,
man.
yeah, love is very important. And I feel like people have forgotten kind of how to love, and they kind of feel like, well, I shouldn't love someone who has a different opinion than me. But again, understanding why and where they come from is, I think, the first step to truly um true activism, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I Is there anything else you want to say?
I mean, all I gotta say to piggyback off the love. I mean, we gotta bring people together. Social distancing, though, and we gotta stick together in these hard times, because if we're all against each other, then I mean, what's the point of all this? We're supposed to
Hmm.
be a team. We're supposed to be a group who is together thick and through thin. I mean, the biggest thing we could do right now is spread positivity out to the world.
Well, everyone, thank you for watching. If you have something to say about this, just go ahead and let us know. If you want to chime in somehow, I'm sure we have a comment section that you can comment in,
Mhm.
and we'll be sure to look at those and kind of take
For
into
sure.
what you said. maybe we can start doing that and stating a comment that has been said in the last video and this video, and maybe getting people on, things like that. So make sure you guys stay updated, keep watching, keep allowing opinions to be heard, and make sure to stay safe, stay aware, and thank you for watching the JZ podcast.